Met Matt and Andrew several years ago. Just really awesome guys as far as giving the information, really making the industry better. They care about the contractors. They care about, really how the whole process works. And then they're very honest as far as when we have a claim, to give us their honest opinion as far as whether or not we want to pursue that or not. And then once they, receive that claim, they really do a great job at following up with the homeowners, making sure that they're representing our company, because at the end of the day, our client is trusting us to put them in touch with the best in the industry.
What's up, everybody? This is lead meteorologist John Choquette here for our live coverage. Looks like we have some quite a bit of activity heading into the Indianapolis area right now. So we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I got 4 different panels up here, and I think at first I'm going to cover it one thing at a time. So basically, we're going to zoom out. We'll just have one panel to start. And we have, here's Indianapolis. This is the northern suburbs of Indianapolis. So heading into Zionsville currently, and then Whitestown just blasted through Lebanon. This is a pretty potent storm. It's warned for winds upwards of 80 miles an hour, which is pretty intense. And this had a history all the way back into Illinois, or by Lincoln, Illinois, and then all the way across into Indiana now. A very strong storm. So we had a really strong wind gust. There's some really impressive wind reports coming in from this thing. And now this is moving into the very populated area of Indianapolis, so it's a good time to jump onto this. Bringing up the 2 panels, there's also hail involved. We have the lower CCs that you guys can see right here, all those greens and blues. That's not indicative of super big hail like we normally would have because the winds are so strong. It seems like it is mostly 1-inch hail, 1 to 1.25 inch hail, but it's getting blown around really strongly with that 60, 70, even bigger winds here. So we could be seeing some pretty strong winds blowing into, and this is Zionsville, like imminently. I'll switch over. This is our winds here. So basically you got the reds going one way and the greens going the other. So you have things going away towards the radar and away from the radar. So all this wind's blowing basically west to east. Now in Zionsville, you can see this big arc right in there. Hang on, let me just go ahead. I'll get my pen loaded up again. There we go. So I'll indicate it with, oh, geez, okay, we're moving quick now. So you can see the wind is gusting even beyond, pretty much right by where my head's at here. This is just north of Indianapolis. So you can see this storm, a lot of hail falling right now in Zionsville, right along Highway 421 all the way back to I-65, I-65. And this is moving rapidly to this east-southeast. Heading into the north side of Indianapolis very, very soon. Again, this is a lot of very strong winds with this. I think the biggest thing is the winds upwards. Again, it's warned for up to 80 miles per hour. But we'll find out if we get any verification of that. What it's looking at right now on radar is looking very impressive. We're definitely seeing gusts well over 60. So this is going to be blowing some stuff around here. So normally you're looking at the CCs, and usually when you see all these greens and yellows and everything, that means we probably have hail much larger than what's actually falling. I think right now we're seeing closer to that 1 to 1.25 inch hail size here in Zionsville, but with it being wind driven, can make like a whole world of difference. There's a lot of hail with this as well, definitely higher. Let me just switch a couple things around so it's a little easier to see. So you got the winds here, the normal reflectivity, your normal radar, and then the CCs, the coefficient, which you like to see for hail in here. So it's again a lot of the greens and the yellows, which most of the time we're talking about this, we're talking about pretty big hail, but based on the trends of the day, it's been a lot of quarter to $half size hail. Lebanon got absolutely annihilated here with very strong winds. So when you're looking onto the panel directly to my left where my mouse is at, so I'm just going to I'll just put an X here. So where I got the X, actually, I got the X, that's a little easier to see. That's where your wind speeds are going to be, your velocities on radar. This is typically used to see rotation for tornadoes, but you can also kind of get an idea of what you're expecting for the winds. And when we have ours kind of blown up a little bit more to be easier to see. So when you're starting to see all the blues in here, that means you're starting to really get some strong winds, well over 60 miles an hour. And this has been mixing to the surface. So you got the winds up higher where the radar is at. So the radar is reading the wind speed wherever the radar is. And then sometimes it mixes the ground, other times it doesn't. This one looks like we're having a case of definitely mixing to the ground here. So if you're just joining us, we're watching the storm very rapidly moving into the north sides of the Indianapolis area with very strong winds. The storm is warned for up to 80-mile-per-hour winds. We have in quarter-size hail. So we had 1-inch hail in Thorntown, Thorntown and Lebanon, Indiana, and this is now quarter-size hail in Zionsville, on the north side of Zionsville, over by State Road 334 and North Ford Road. You're getting that quarter-size hail and a ton of wind-driven hail. Probably hail sizes all over the place too. It's not going to be just quarters or anything. You're going to have as small as little pea-size hail all the way up to quarter-size hail, and it looks to be pretty strong winds in here as this is now pushing into a Carmel, Westfield. You can tell right where I have. I'm going to just kind of draw in here. That's your leading edge of the wind. Of course, this thing didn't want to draw a nice straight line. There's your leading edge of the wind, and then this is going to continue to move to the south and east very quickly. So this is going to be going through Indianapolis with the entire metro probably within the hour. So again, strong winds very likely with this. So I'm starting to see some comments coming in here. Any hail in North Pennsylvania? Not right now. I don't see anything right now. I need Indianapolis, says Pate. And a lot of people are just watching right now, so we're just kind of waiting to see what happens. All right, we got another update here. Here in Carmel and Zionsville, yeah, I mean, there is a lot of hail falling. Anywhere where you're seeing those high reflectivities, that's all hail. Again, we're not talking some massive hailstorm like we were seeing yesterday or anything, or even, I'll show you guys a little bit in other areas today. This is a lot of wind with that more marginally severe hail. So we might be we were kind of saying in the group chat that we have with all the meteorologists, hail traces is going to be sandblasting some houses here with that hail from P to quarter size, and then very strong winds. Again, I would not be shocked if we get some pretty impressive wind reports out of this. Winds well over 60 miles an hour. So I'm going to show you guys. We got anything crazy coming in yet? No, not quite yet. So you had some winds back here up around 60 miles an hour. Shed destroyed. We got numerous semis blown over Interstate 57. This is the type of wind that's been coming over here. So we're seeing a lot of wind reports coming in. This looks like a pretty potent little squall line here, and where we're covering there in North Indianapolis area, that's where you're seeing some hail with that as well, upwards of quarter size. Elsewhere, looks like we have another tornado warning pretty close to Jonesboro, unfortunately, where they just had a pretty devastating tornado a couple weeks ago, and some quarter size hail. This storm had a history of baseball size hail. We had hail in and around just south of the Paducah area. St. Louis, of course, I think I might be cursing whatever city I decide has a high chance of storms this year, because everything isn't not too much really happening in St. Louis. You had stuff to the north, stuff to the south. St. Louis itself, well, what are you gonna do? and okay, so now we're getting that report already of a half-inch hail again. This isn't the big hailstorm. This is a lot of wind and the hail being pushed by the wind, like I'm saying here. So even knowing that correlation coefficients are getting down pretty low, you're seeing all those greens and yellows in there. That a lot of times when you're watching them, when you're talking about golf balls, this is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about high quantities of hail, upwards of about 1 inch, and strong winds with it. So again, we have this thing bowing out. So you have like a nice little bow feature as it's moving. Going to cross whatever the north end of the Indianapolis loop is here. Was this I-465 getting into Meridian Hills imminently. See, this is a 4-minute old image, so it's probably about here right now where my mouse is at. So again, this is moving to southeast very fast with strong winds and a lot of wind-driven hail, mostly sub-severe hail, and I wouldn't be surprised you see some up to $1 to $half size hail mixing in there. There we go. So we just got a whole bunch of reports of that dime, half-inch hail, and then more importantly, that wind is going to be blowing it around with up to that quarter-size hail and strong winds in Zionsville and in Carmel. And it keeps pushing the southeast. So even knowing the hail algorithm saying we're getting up over golf ball size hail, just based on what we're looking at here, a lot of times when you have these storms that have very strong winds with them, it ends up kind of messing up that algorithm a little bit. So really the hail is a lot smaller and a lot higher in quantity falling, but also the very strong winds pushing it very quickly as well might make it seem bigger than it actually is. So if you're right along in Meridian Hills, just south of I-465, so the north loop, the Indianapolis loop, that's where you're going to be seeing the craziest weather, the strongest winds, and the biggest hail, or just really any hail. Not really too much hail anywhere else. So in like Danville and further south, that's going to be moving into Indianapolis as well. This is going to be more your garden variety. Winds are up and around 60 to 65 miles an hour. So this whole thing has had a very stout history of dropping some really strong winds, and that's why we popped live here to watch as it moved through a major metro area here in Indianapolis. So you got any? So we got warned for 70 miles an hour. Got this warned, I think, still warned for 80. Yeah, still warned for 80 miles an hour. That's crazy. All right, so we got another radar update. Again, it keeps pushing to the south and to the east pretty rapidly with that hail. Again, you're seeing primarily sub-severe hail reports coming in of half inch to dime size hail, and so I'm calling this pocket change hail, probably pea size. And I'm saying we're getting up to some quarters. I would not be shocked we get some quarter size hail in with this as well. And the very strong winds pushing it all, so people might not be going out there too much to pick up the hailstones. And this keeps racing to the south and to the east. Other areas that have been hit today, we've been kind of waiting on seeing if the cap can break. In Texas, we've had a Texas-sized cap keeping these storms in line. This is the only thing that we've seen try to get going here. We just keep seeing little storms trying to show up by San Marcos. Again, try to pop up and then they just kind of fizzle out. That's been the case all day. We had quite a bit of hail earlier. We had up to softball-sized hail when the storms initially formed this afternoon. And then things didn't quite pan out for St. Louis. Big storms to the north, big storms to the south. Nothing for them specifically. Getting some hail now right where the Mississippi and Ohio rivers come together. And another tornado warning, unfortunately. Oh, hopefully this isn't confirmed, right? Yeah, no, it's not confirmed. Tornado warning close to Jonesboro, Arkansas. We had some hail down south in Mississippi and Alabama. Some storms over by Raleigh. Those didn't really have much in the way of hail with them. And so the main story here is the strong winds and marginally severe hail here on the northern sides of the Indianapolis metro area. So again, this is what we're looking at currently with all this. So again, the hail algorithm, they're saying they're getting up to near golf ball size hail. I'm not seeing golf ball size hail with this right now. I'm seeing lots of very strong winds and some more pocket change variety size hail. So your pea to quarter size hail variants. And that's with all these reports that are coming in of all that sub-severe hail that really tracks. But when you get those strong winds with it, it has a much better chance of doing some damage. So getting power pole is broken, really. Dang, that's crazy. So strong winds from Lebanon earlier, and that is impacting the area now. So the winds are very quickly. They're probably almost crossing over Lantern, not Lantern, whatever highway this is here. Is this I-44 or something? No, it's not I-44. It's I-69. crossing over towards Fishers now. That's where your strong winds are kicking in, south of Meridian Hills, and it's going to be moving through downtown Indianapolis very soon. Somebody said, anything coming to Kansas City? No, not today. That's going to, everything is east of you in Kansas City, unfortunately. Anything coming in Tennessee? Potentially. We had a couple storms a little earlier, kind of flirting with the Nashville area. We had a couple storms form right by the radar, actually. Nothing too crazy, just some little pockets of up to quarter-size hail. And then over by Lawrenceburg in a rural area had about golf ball size hail out, and that's for all this activity that's impacting like Indianapolis right now, and over by Paducah, and that's all moving in the general direction of Nashville for later on this evening. Let's see, we got another update here. Again, the storm is rapidly moving across the north side of the Indianapolis area. You think it'll hit Muncie, Indiana? Bloomington, Indiana doesn't look good. Okay. Let me try to get the locations for you guys here. Apologize, I don't know the area as well as I need to. I recognize Muncie as the city in Indiana. I'm trying to remember where it's at. Okay, yeah, that's going to be, all right, so far northeastern sections. Muncie, you're going to be okay. You are, oh God, where is this? You're pretty far away. You're east of Yorktown. So, wherever that is, you're up this way, I want to say. Fishers. Yeah, Muncie, you're okay. You're not going to be seeing too much in the way of anything out of this. What was the other comment? The other person? Yeah, I think someone said. Hour south of Indianapolis. Yes. Bloomington, we'll see about that. I think, yeah, this is not looking as exciting there as it does on the northern sides of Indy right now, where we have much stronger winds. Look at that, another. Yeah, getting some more wind damage reports rolling in here. Again, strong winds. Warned for 80. It's not looking as crazy as it was back by Lebanon, so I wouldn't be surprised. Again, it's over 60 to 65 miles an hour, and then very possible with a lot of that hail falling. So even knowing the radar looks like we're seeing a widespread large hail, it's really a lot of sub-severe hail with occasionally some quarter-size hail mixed in, but it's being wind-driven across the northern sections of Indianapolis. So it's right along that northern loop, the I-465 loop to Meridian Hills, now Castleton, to Fishers. You're seeing that probably high quantities of hail falling, hitting your windows with the wind gusting, and tons of rain going down, and then it's getting quickly moving off to the east. We now already have the winds probably gusting in downtown Indianapolis, along with heavy rain. The hail, maybe not so much there. It's pretty much north of West 52nd Street in Indianapolis. And it's kind of probably likely stay north of there as it keeps pushing off to the east. And look at all those sub-severe hail reports. That is definitely not much in the way of severe hail. You're going to have those strong winds blowing that, so I wouldn't be surprised even if, that dime to nickel-size hail might actually ding up some siding in the homes in that area. So a lot of hail reports so far today. Not too much for St. Louis, unfortunately. It seems like St. Louis is doing a good job of missing out on stuff. Power lines down near 171st Street and SR State Road 32 in Westfield. So power lines are getting knocked down. Power is probably getting knocked out for a lot of folks here in the northern sections of Indy. Yeah, wind strong, rain starting. Yeah, you're getting the strongest winds are probably going to be in that initial gust. So you get the rain starting, you're going to get the real big strong gusts of wind as this storm is racing off to the east here. Yeah, strong winds, like saying probably easily over 60 miles an hour in sections if you're in the northern sections of the Indianapolis area. So, places like Meridian Hills, Castleton, Fishers, Carmel, Westfield, Westfield, Carmel, Zionsville, you're done already. Like it might not even be raining too much anymore. And now over by Castleton pretty soon here in McCordsville and Lawrence and all the other sections east of, let's see, any hail coming ways of Kentucky, Shelbyville, Kentucky in particular. Things will be heading in the general direction of Kentucky in the next couple hours here. I think, yeah, Shelbyville is just east of Louisville. And this will be in a few hours. We'll kind of see how these storms pan out. Red line heading home, the wind's picking up, the wind's gusting heavily. Yeah, the wind's going to probably likely be those main threat, and then that could be strong though. I mean, again, up over 60 miles an hour, 60 to 65 mile per hour winds is no joke. That knocks some tree limbs down, that can knock the power out. It can be pretty scary. So it's coming through here. Overall, hail. Okay, we got a tornado warning now. All right. Okay, yeah, so this is down over by Mooresville. It's popping up real quick. This kind of happens with these big squall lines. You get little curlicues happening, and you get a little bit of rotation, a little couplet here. You can see where the reds and the greens come together. That's your rotation, and this is right over Mooresville right now. So a quick little spin-up tornado wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility here, just for maybe a couple minutes over by Mooresville, Indiana. So this is south of Indianapolis, and that's why they have that tornado warning just issued. Again, probably a quick spin-up, and it passes by, but be in your safe place. If you're in Mooresville or heading over by east of there, by Brooklyn or by Greenwood, all this seems like we are seeing. I think there's a lot of folks in this area, right? Yeah. I just don't have the roads loaded up. So be in your safe place for this, because it looks like we have a potential for a little bit of a spin-up tornado. It'd be very brief. I don't think nothing crazy. No. Like yeah. Even just by this radar frame, it looks like it's already gone. So that might have come and go really quick. But that tornado warning is in effect. We got another tornado warning. Yeah, it looks like we could see pretty much anywhere along the line here on the southern section, so south of Indianapolis. That's where you could have the potential for a quick spin-up tornado here and there, as this system is very convective. You're getting all these winds, and they kind of can spin around real quick and drop a little tornado. Another wind report, just general thunderstorm wind damage. Again, your strongest winds here in Indianapolis, and having the hail on top of it, that's going to be all north of downtown Indianapolis. I'm getting bad weather. Yes, Indiana, yes. If you are in Indianapolis really at all, especially if you're from downtown points west, a lot of it's probably already occurred. And then, so somebody asked about, is there anything beyond this initial band? And not really. Once this moves by Indianapolis, I'd say pretty confidently you guys are going to be done for the rest of the night, as this races through. This is all part of a cold front that's racing to the southeast. So once this cold front pushes through, it brings in the cooler air, stabilizes the atmosphere. You're not going to see too much in the way of any severe weather this evening. But this is packing quite the punch. And again, if you're on the northern half of the Indianapolis metro, you're seeing really strong winds and a lot of small hail, with the occasional hail up to quarter size. I wouldn't even say the storm's not looking as good now hail-wise as it did like 10-15 minutes ago. So probably almost exclusively sub-severe hail being blown around. And now we have to keep a very close eye on the south section of the Indianapolis area. We see here now we have 2 tornado warnings out. These are for quick spin-up tornadoes. We call them QLCS tornadoes. So this is a big line of storms, and you can get these little tornadoes to kind of spin up as they're going. What's the star rating for Indy? We're going to be sitting here at probably a 2-star map, right? I think it's sitting at a 2-star map right now. We will kind of analyze how everything's going to be playing out here in terms of with the wind and everything. So we have a wind map and we have a hail map. The hail map's probably going to be a 2-star map, just because we have primarily sub-severe hail, that marginally severe hail, with the strong winds are going to be the things that are really going to be pushing this a lot more. And then the wind map might end up being a 3-star map. We'll see how that pans out. So just, keep an eye on the Facebook page and our website. If you have Hail Trace, got the notifications, you'll be notified about that when this blows through. I'm sure there's more wind reports. Wind reports typically don't come in as quickly as the hail reports. Usually emergency managers or the law enforcement need to get out to the areas after the storm passes, and that's when you can kind of get a better idea of like some kinds of the wind damage. So like in Indiana, you had some pretty crazy winds back in Illinois where you're knocking semis over on the highway and stuff. Yeah, good God, was every person in Indianapolis reporting their small hail? This is crazy. Sirens in Bloomington. Yes. Oh yeah, Bloomington. You are. Wait, really? You got the sirens going there? I mean, you don't have the tornado warnings in Bloomington. It's not even in your county, but it's got a pretty strong storm coming in here. So it looks like we have. They probably just turned the sirens on because you have those strong winds possible heading towards you. So yeah, this is ripping through Indianapolis pretty fast here. Okay, MPing reports. They just set. So these, when it says that a report's from an MPing report, that's most people can submit these, and for the wind reports, you can't put in your own notes. They just have their own generalized little canned messages in here. So when you see one of the tree limbs broken, shingles blown off, that might not necessarily be what was happening. That's just they saw the wind threshold, whatever the threshold of damage could be that they were seeing, and that's what they're looking at. How are things looking for Houston tomorrow, in your opinion? I can probably take a look at the models really fast, just off screen here, and kind of see. Okay, that latest run isn't quite out yet, but based off of what I've been kind of peeking at earlier today, Houston area it's promising for Houston tomorrow. I can definitely say that. So if things pan out just right, we could see some real big hail. San Antonio to Houston, upwards of, the conditions are very favorable for that up to baseball size hail. Okay. What's the link/app for the radar? So this radar we use is called GR Analyst Level 2. It's a paid for app. I do recommend Radar Scope is probably a pretty good one. That's a good app that you can have. What can Greenwood expect out of this? Greenwood's going to get some strong winds right now. So you're under that tornado warning. So basically you're under the tornado warning out of the chance that you get these quick little QLCS tornadoes. They can spin up very fast, be on the ground for like maybe a minute or two, and drop and lift, and then someone could go somewhere else. So for the National Weather Service, it's a little hard to put out a warning for these things because they can come and go over the course of one radar frame, which is about 2.5 minutes. And the guys in the weather office can't type up the message fast enough, so you gotta just put out a big box. So I'd be careful of that. If the tornadoes scare you a little bit, get into your safe place. Whether interior room of your house, in your basement. I know Indiana's got a lot of basements, I think. So I think if you just go out in your basement, you got TV in your basement, just turn your TV on or bring your phone down. However you're watching us, you can do that. Or your local news channel. I won't be offended if you could turn on your local channel for this. But in terms of what I'm looking at right here, I don't see anything imminently that spells tornado to me. Make sure I'm not BSing you. Yeah, no, I don't see any. This looks pretty linear. Again, so I think a very small chance that there'd be anything that spins up out of this. I don't see a lot of rotation right now. What is this? 55 mile per hour wind gust, somebody said in Marion. Just public there, right by, and this looks like it was right by downtown Indy. So again, that's strongest wind. Pretty much where you're seeing all those hail reports coming in, the million little green rectangles there, that's where your strongest wind likely had occurred. The best chance of winds over 60 miles an hour. Here in Lawrence, you're seeing some more hail there right now. Again, likely sub-severe, and those strong winds up over 60 miles an hour. Down in the south, yes, there's 2 tornado warnings. It's scary looking, but when we look at the velocities, you want to see where greens and the reds meet, and I'm not really seeing that too much. So again, these little systems, they can kind of spin up really fast. So it's not looking too crazy right now for any tornado potential. Strong winds, yeah, a lot of rain, you betcha, a lot of lightning for sure, but tornado, probably not too much of a strong chance for that right now. Again, these things can spin up very quickly, but I think this is just a very strong squall line of straight line winds moving through. Straight line winds can be very damaging as well, so I would not let your guard down too much. But okay, let me bring up this back here. If you're just joining us, we're watching the storm. It's already, I mean, it's gonna be moving out of Indy very soon here. So bats leaving the cave in Austin. Oh yes, yeah, Austin, Texas. You know, kind of watching back in Texas. I know some folks are curious about storms, and keep seeing these little guys try to get going, and they got Texas-sized caps. Basically, you have your lid, your basically the governor for the storm engine, and yeah, kind of take them off to have your big hail happen. And it doesn't look like these storms can break past this cap this afternoon. And I guess a bunch of bats just left all the caves in Austin. I'm assuming Derek probably has the radar up in central Texas. Oh no. Got confirmed tornado warning now over by Jonesboro, Arkansas, and a couple weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago now, Jonesboro actually saw another, a very, very powerful tornado rip right through the middle of town. So that's very unfortunate. You got another one kind of close to Jonesboro. This is generally heading towards Memphis, so we have to keep an eye on this guy here as it moves towards Tennessee. Somebody asked about Tennessee. And looks like we have in Cape Girardeau. You had some quarter-size hail just move through there. Watching these storms, starting to head into Tennessee now. Right now, not looking like anything too wild, but we'll keep a close eye on that. Elsewhere, St. Louis, you're done, unfortunately. Doesn't look like you're going to see any big storms today. And possibly not really see any big storms in Texas either. Again, that cap seems to be holding strong in place. So the only real big game in town here for major population center is in the Indianapolis area. And we just got a report. So the ASOS stations, these are the official wind readings that the government uses at airports, and they just reported a 71 mile per hour gust at the Indianapolis International Airport. So that is very strong. And that is also right where this cone of silence is. So the radar, you can't see within a mile of the radar. So we just had very strong winds on the south side of Indy. So it looks like, yeah, we might actually have very strong winds on both the south side and then up north. So up north was your first area of wind, and that's where you're going to have the hail with it. And that, you know, upwards, I'd say over 60 miles an hour for sure. This was actually warned for 80 initially, and still warned for 80. Dang, did somebody record 80 mile per hour winds to actually get a reading out of this in the north side of Indy? Because if that's the case, 80 mile per hour winds is destructive. Like, that's going to tear some crap up. So again, this is all on the north side. So that's still warned for 80 miles an hour. And then we just got an official reading from an ASOS station. So it's an automated weather sensor of 71 miles per hour, and it's on the south side of Indianapolis. So this looks like a strong winds through a lot of Indianapolis. I know if you guys work like wind claims or wind damage and stuff, I think there'll be quite a few big. Hang on, what's this here? Oh yeah, look at that. So this is actually a picture from our supplement, John Dye. Yeah, there's a picture that he just sent in. You can kind of see that. If you're wondering who he is, I can take the time. Be a shout out to our supplement, one of our one of our sponsors. And
John here with Art of the Supplement, and I wanted to invite you to our brand new Facebook group, Art of the Supplement Nation. We've assembled the industry's top experts to bring you the best answers to all your insurance restoration questions. It's on Facebook, not MySpace. Delete that. You don't need MySpace anymore. Check it out. Facebook.
Yeah, so go follow his stuff. He's one of our sponsors, and he's in Indianapolis. So I guess it was a good time to mention that. And there you go. There's that 70 mile per hour wind gust, 71 mile per hour measured wind gust. So that's very strong winds. You typically don't see 70 mile per hour winds in your average thunderstorm. So that probably will boost up the value of the wind map quite a bit here in Indianapolis. And so you have this storm already has moved through. It's in Greenfield now, and it keeps moving off to the east very fast. And then we also have the storms off to the south here. Another wind damage report. They're down by Brooklyn. So if, I think somebody was talking about in Bloomington. You're probably going to be okay. I mean, you might get some strong gusty winds, but I think Indianapolis area overall is where your strongest winds are. Here's another picture of that hail. So like I had mentioned, that's a lot of that smaller hail in there. So primarily sub-severe. It's just that wind-driven sub-severe hail. And then maybe the occasional quarter in there. So again, that wasn't going live for the crazy hail. Is more the really strong winds. And now that's pretty much pushing past Indianapolis. If you're in downtown, if you're where the airport's at, or you're pretty much north or west of the eastern portion of the highway, what is this, like Highway 36, you're pretty much done. I mean, you're in you're in Pleasant View or in Greenfield, you're getting hit now. Pendleton, you're getting hit now. But otherwise, I mean, I think you guys are winding down pretty quickly here. And these tornado warnings, doesn't look like there's anything tornadic right now from what I'm looking at on radar. So I actually see this line, so I'm going to highlight this for you guys to show why I think we're probably not going to be seeing too much in the way of tornadic activity. This little guy right here, see that little line that I'm kind of highlighting with the black squiggly oval. That's your outflow. So it's basically the exhaust from the storm engine shooting out in front of the storm. So when it does that, when it gets separated from the storm because of friction, it starts to slow down and it makes the winds weaker, along with the fact that since everything is pushing in this direction, you can't really have much interaction with things going in this direction to cause the spin to cause tornadoes. So I think the tornado threat in the Indianapolis area is very quickly winding down, along with just the overall storm threat. I mean, you're going to continue seeing some rain and hear thunder and lightning for a while, but these storms are pushing off to the east very fast. There's another 60 mile per hour wind gusts, and a lot of the wind damage reports I think are coming pretty quickly over just over the course of the evening. They come in a little slower than the hail reports, but the measurements there are pretty good. So sirens have stopped. Yes, yeah, John, you're pretty much done. So I think things are winding down a lot for Indianapolis. I'm probably gonna wrap things up in a second here. I got a couple other winds. So I got 62 mile per hour wind gusts just got recorded. So anywhere from 60 to 72 miles per hour looks like it's gonna be. Hail was hard though, yeah. So you got that wind-driven, hard, possibly sub-severe hail blowing through the area. So I would not be shocked, even if this was like sub-severe hail, that it would ding some soft metals and maybe mess up some siding and whatnot. So wouldn't shock me if that were the case. Other areas that we can check out, I mean, people asking about Kentucky. This will be heading towards Kentucky, towards the Louisville area next couple hours. Down by St. Louis, you guys are done, unfortunately. The storms seem to kind of dance around you today. Down by Jonesboro, thankfully there is a confirmed tornado warning, but it looks like we have tornadoes off away from town. Where was the hail? The hail was primarily on the northern sides of Indianapolis. You can see all these little green rectangles, that's all subsevere hail reports. We had a quarter-size hail in Lebanon and Thorntown, and primarily subsevere, hard, wind-driven hail across a lot of the north sides of Indianapolis. Winds reported at the airport, International Airport in Indianapolis, 71 miles an hour, so that's pretty strong. No hail where I am. Yeah, it was on the northern half of the metro area. So we got another severe thunderstorm warning. They didn't do any more tornado warnings. There's the 70-mile-per-hour wind gust. Severe thunderstorm warning. So this will be heading towards Cincinnati. Also, probably around the same time as Louisville, maybe slightly earlier. And so you could be seeing strong winds. Probably no tornadic activity, likely very little in the way of hail, but strong winds are a very distinct possibility here. Everywhere else, Illinois, you're basically done if you are north of Mount Vernon, and Tennessee will be keeping an eye on you. We might have to come back a little bit later to see if this storm by Jonesboro makes it over to Memphis, or if any of these shenanigans do anything crazy over by Nashville. We'll definitely come back. And finally, we do have that outside chance that we could see a storm break the cap in Texas. It's over by Austin, Texas. So if something happens, we'll go live and cover that. If not, we have a risk for hail in Texas tomorrow anyway. My brother's in California. Is he gonna get a tornado? No, no, not here in California. It's no. Oh, something about Ohio. Yeah, we'll see. We might come back later too if something gets really wild in Cincinnati. And we got a report. It looks like a little spin-up tornado came up to the northwest of Bloomington, though that's not gonna be the case. Let's break the cap, baby. Yeah, let's see if we can break that cap in Austin, Texas. We could see some big storms later on. That's a big if. Nothing's really happened so far. So yeah, south of Indianapolis, yeah, no, not too much hail there. The strong winds and most of Indy, you're basically done now. So that's it. That's pretty much all I got for you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll come back. If anything crazy does occur, thanks to our sponsors, our supplement balance claims, Merlin Law Group, and C3 Group, we will see you later. Yeah, I got hit hard, I'm sure. So, give us a follow, like, all that great stuff. Give us a call, 855-334-4245. Any comments, questions, or concerns you have, if you're interested in hail trace, everything's available on the website now. You can watch as we're mapping everything live. So I will see you guys a bit later. Final shout out to our sponsor, Merlin.
I've met with a lot of firms that have had these
Probably,
situations before, but I haven't found anybody as good as Merlin and as dedicated to what they do. They're not here to make you happy. They're here to win.
All right. Bye, guys.